The other big game changer is really utilizing artificial intelligence to really supercharge your business. So now I'm even more gung-ho on how I am going to supercharge my business utilizing AI, because I'm only like not even scratching the surface.
So
Like, it is
true.
very exciting. You have to adapt. If you're not adapting right now, because of artificial intelligence, there's going to be single person companies that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars
Yes.
because they're able to utilize technology like this. Like, it's going to transform. You're going to have probably like a 25-year-old kid that uses AI, one person show, and creates a $200 million business, like 2 years.
Hi friends, this is Vinney Chopra from here in Danville, California. And you might be saying, hey Vinney, what are these over here? You know, I wrote this book a few years back, Apartment Syndication Made Easy. It became top seller. I came from India with $7 in my pocket. It says 500 million. It's going to be 1 billion very soon, very soon. I'm right at about 850, 900 million. And then I'm ready for the next billion. Actually, you will see that happening, 2 billion in this book also. The other book I wrote, which has been a very big positivity, has been my life. Always, I've been married 43 years with 2 children, and the beauty is to be positive, the mindset that can take you to all the places in the world. And that's the book that also became big seller. My third book, Senior Assisted Living, is coming. So do yourself a favor, go ahead and click the link below to get free copies, audio copies of these books, even printed copies of these books. If you, printed means digital, if you can't afford it, but I would highly recommend for you to get these, or go to Amazon.com. Just go to Amazon. I got it in soft cover, in hardcover, in Kindle, in audio, also the Spanish version of this book also. So let's crush it, guys. I know you can be successful. I know you can do the kind of things that you want to do in life and have the streams of income and know how to really, educate yourself so that you could become a strong force in this world in real estate. I know you can. So take that step. Don't just be on the sideline. Take charge of your life. Take charge of your education. This is Vinney Chopra, Vinney Smile Chopra. Thank you for following me on social channels, listening to my podcast, YouTube channel, all the different channels, and also liking the podcast. Please give us a 5-star review, subscribe to it, share the content. My blogs are there. Please watch them too and read them. Also, YouTube channel, all the different ones. My Vinney and Beau show on Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific every week. And also Abundance Mindset with Vinney and Walter Amarello on Thursday live. Please enjoy this show. Thanks again for everything. God bless you. Hello there, this is Vinney Chopra and Beau Eckstein for the Vinney and Beau show. We come live to you. We are really excited today to talk about RAL, Residential Assisted Living Financing through SBA, Small Business Administration, 7A loan. And who is better than how to really make it happen? That's Beau Eckstein, my brother right here, because he's been a specialist in not only franchising, not only loan brokering, but actually SBA financing is his specialty. Hi, Beau. How are you, bro?
I am doing well. Yes, I'm excited to have this conversation today. It's another beautiful Friday. A lot of people don't realize the power of these government guaranteed loan programs such as SBA. There's also another program called USDA BNI, which is for areas that have a population less than 50,000. We do a lot in USDA for senior housing in the underserved rural markets. The advantage of the USDA, if it's in one of these markets, is you can do up to $25 million deals with this product. And you can also put in CPACE in the capital stack. They also have another program for community facilities. If you're building a large facility where you can do deals up to $100 million with the USDA Community Facility Program. So today, I think, is a great topic to talk about why everyone should look for SBA financing if they're buying businesses, if they're doing residential assisted living or assisted living, skilled nursing, motels, hotels, anything that's construed as a business. Even self-storage is construed as a business. You could possibly utilize the SBA 7A, the SBA 504, or potentially if it's in a rural market, the USDA BNI loan. So here's the thing that most people don't know. Most people think you're stuck with a total of 5 million, which is true to some part, but we're going to talk today about how you can actually really scale a business utilizing SBA financing. And you can do this yourself without bringing in or doing a syndication if you didn't want to, because the equity injection requirements for a startup are typically they want to see at least 10% of the total cost in. Some banks will want 20% of the total cost in, some will want 25 on a startup business. When there's real estate involved in the ownership, it makes the deal stronger, right? Because it's fully collateralized.
Yeah.
But let's just say we'll use Vinney's deal as an example. So here's the caveat when you're doing these facilities. You need to be shovel ready, permit ready. So you have to have your permit and licensing in hand prior to the SBA. So what a lot of people do on an acquisition, such as Vinney's doing, he's going to either get bridge loan, short-term financing, or he's going to do some seller carry.
Seller carry. Yeah. In my case, it's the seller carry. We closed it in 10 days, brother. I love it.
Yeah. So the seller carry, then you get your licensing in place and you get all your paperwork to the bank. Remember, SBA doesn't make the loans, it guarantees a portion of the loan. Yeah. So all said and done, you can finance. What's really the beautiful part of this, which people don't really get, is that you can finance the purchase price, you can finance the FF&E, you can finance any other improvements, assuming that you had a qualified contractor. That becomes your total project cost. You can finance up to 90% of total project cost, and you can build in working capital.
Yeah.
So it's a phenomenal program. When you're doing it the way Vinney's doing it right now, which is you're acquiring with seller financing or bridge debt, you just got to make sure that debt is eligible for a refinance, basically, right? And so
it's no prepayment penalty. I can give it back any day.
But for SBA, they have certain rules. So it has to be eligible, like it has to have a balloon payment, or it has to be short-term debt. If you had a conventional loan on it and it was a 30-year term, it wouldn't be eligible for an SBA project, most likely. Now, there are some rules and some kind of areas you can work around. Just know when you're structuring your capital how this all works. Now, most of these banks are going to want to see some relative experience in the industry. Maybe there's you're a nurse, or maybe you have some other correlating experience. Maybe it's even a lot of business entrepreneurship and other businesses. We just need to sell the fact that you do have experience and you have the right business plan. Yeah. They're going to want a business plan. They're going to want projections. And some banks often want a feasibility study. Not all the time, just depends on the total cost. So all said and done, what will happen is if you have a lot of business entities, it's very paperwork heavy because a lot of real estate people like Vinney, they have multiple LLCs. They sometimes depreciate everything. And so that's where there's a little bit of pain getting through the underwriting when there's all these variables. But if you're just a simple person, you got some W-2 income, you own a few rental properties or whatever, that makes it actually almost easier to get these loans. Yeah. Okay. Like you almost have to keep it simple. So anyways, so the loan, let's just say the loan goes in place. Typically it's going to be a 25-year term. Yeah. It's going to have when real estate is involved. Now, if Vinney was just buying a business with no real estate, it would be a 10-year term. Anytime the term is greater than 15 years, it's going to have a 3-year declining prepayment penalty, 5%, 3%, and 1% the third year. So I always say, end of the second year, if the rates really come down and we can get you a fixed rate option at that time, we refi, pay the 1% penalty. That's not a big deal, typically on a smaller deal size. So SBA is really good. So you can have multiple SBA loans. Now Vinney, then let's just say he didn't have any other assisted living experience. This was his first one. Then let's just say a year and a half later, he files his first year of tax returns and he's profitable. On the next future deal, you can actually get up to 100% of costs because it's considered a business expansion. You're capped at 5 million aggregate. There's a classification system called the North American NAICS code. So you can have up to 5 million in any given NAICS code. So like we could do several of these if we're doing about $1 million per project.
Totally.
But what happens when you run out of your aggregate of SBA financing? It's simple. You move into what's called an SBA 504 loan. And you do the project as an SBA 504 green. And then the 7A SBA loan doesn't count in the aggregate. When you do a green loan, you can actually have up to 16.5 million of SBA aggregate financing. So for an SBA green loan, we send an engineer out and we have to do something that reduces energy consumption by a certain percentage, and then it's eligible. And a 504 is a first and second. So you can actually do a 504 loan for up to $18, $19 million because you're going to have a $10 or $12 million, $8 to $12 million senior loan, and then up to a $5.5 million second. So as you can see, you can own $40, $50 million of real estate type of these business models potentially with SBA financing. It's pretty awesome. And the difference, you don't necessarily need to bring in money partners because you can come up with the down payment, or what we call the equity injection. So you can scale this business not having to raise much capital. Now, just say Vinney was moving to his next project, which was going to be a $3 million acquisition of an existing facility, and he needed to come up with 10%. And he can actually bring a partner in that owns less than 20%, and that partner comes in with the equity injection. Or you could a combination of seller carry. If you were to buy an existing facility, you can have the seller carry back up to 7.5% of the 10% you need to come in with. So on a $3 million facility, you could close literally for $75,000 out of pocket.
Wow.
So guys, this tool is not just for assisted living. You
Yeah.
can use this for most businesses. I got a guy buying a business right now for $2.4 million, and we got the seller to carry back 5%. So he's going to close. So basically, you can go from corporate to owning a business with very little out of pocket, and then get all the value of owning a business, get the cash flow immediately on an existing business, right? Because it's already cash flowing potentially. And that's what's happening right now with so many baby boomers that are retiring that own businesses. They don't have a succession plan. They need to do something with the business, either shut it down or sell it. And obviously they'd rather sell it and make a few bucks.
I was just wondering, does it happen where you just get stuck with one or two and the SBA says no more loans? But what you're sharing is you could really go up to 5 million, which could be maybe 4 RALs, possibly, million. But then after that, it could go to 504B or C or something.
SBA 504. SBA 504.
It's just 504 up to 19 million. And with the green, that's the beauty. And also, why don't we go green? Because we want to reduce the utilities cost and everything. So it's much better to go green. You mentioned about PACE also. You want to say that again? How would that come into place? Is that PACE? The green is PACE.
No, it's not PACE, but on larger assisted living facilities, you can put PACE in the capital stack. So when you're building these 100-bed, the best way to do it when you're not in a time crunch, the problem was when you were doing your deals, you were trying to go fast, right? PACE is not the most fast vehicle, but you essentially can get construction money and then see PACE in the capital stack. So it's not in every state, but basically that's extra equity in the deal. It's almost like pref equity, but it's really the debt piece. So understanding these tools with USDA, you can put CPACE in the capital stack for projects. The 504 doesn't allow CPACE, the 7A does. So it's different rules, different navigation. There's also a lot of tax credits.
It's like a taxation, if I remember. I know in Florida, I was working with a consultant and they had given, I don't know, 4 billion or something in CPACE money, but they were saying that I will not have to pay the payment. It's only like yearly that you have to pay the payment with your taxes. And it's not for about
2 years. It's usually capitalized. And then in most municipalities, most jurisdictions, you make the payment basically with like how you make a tax payment.
Yes.
It's not a lien like a mortgage lien. It's actually like an assessment, like a tax. And that's why a lot of banks don't like it, because in theory, it's a super lien, what's called a super lien.
Yep.
But understanding the capital stack and navigating these type of financing I watch people every day go from, I'm making 6 figures, I'm in my tech job. They're doing well, but they're like, hey, there's got to be a better way. You got a little capital, go out and buy a business, buy a franchise, utilize leverage. So you don't necessarily need to go out and raise millions of dollars. Now, obviously, if there's a project that warrants it, you're going to go do that and do a syndication. But utilizing SBA, you don't need to. And so that's the beauty of it. And then you could just you can get a partner, right? Like how we partnered on the marina. There's
Yeah.
these, you can do all this kind of stuff and more. Knowing how to maneuver the systems is critical. And sometimes if you can find a seller that's willing to carry, you're going to take that down. And then ultimately too, once your facility's got 2 years of history, we might
Yes.
take it out of that SBA loan. So that's
Ah,
going to open up more bandwidth, right? If you had
yes.
3 million of loan and we took it out with we refinanced it with a conventional bank, now you still have the
Mhm.
5 million again, right?
Yeah.
And you can use the 7A to build too. So you can do ground up residential care facilities as well. So you can do all of it with SBA finance.
Now, you mentioned about registered contractors. So, how do we know that, like, for example, my property in Scottsdale, Arizona, right, Phoenix, as we are doing the work on it in the front and the back and every, it's turnkey already. And then all the materials we're going to furnish and all keep proper bills, right? Invoices. But how about the contractors?
So yeah, so anytime you're dealing with a bank, they don't want a contractor that doesn't have a decent financial statement.
Okay.
Usually, they're going to vet the contractor. If you're doing several $100,000 or $1 million in construction,
Hmm.
they have certain standards of what they want, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the key there, one is this: your property was already remodeled. But let's just
Yes.
say you bought a property with bridge financing, like a short-term loan, because it was in disrepair, but it was a perfect location. And we
Mm-hmm.
got this short-term debt, and then we got the licensing, and then you hadn't started the construction yet. Then we get the SBA loan to get the construction to renovate and do all that stuff, and it was 300,000 in renovations and to equip the property for the
Hmm.
seniors. So the SBA loan comes in. They're going to want to know that the contractor is reputable, basically, that
Hmm.
they fill out a 1 or 2 page form, and sometimes they have to attach a financial statement. So you have to use if you're doing a loan and a bank's making the loan and you're doing the construction with the bank, they're going to want to make sure the contractor is reputable. Because
Yeah.
even if the contractor is good, we've run into this problem before that the contractor had built stuff for you, but his financials were weak.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, banks don't take your word for it. They want to make sure, just as they're making sure you're a good borrower, that
Yeah.
the person that they're going to give $500,000 to build something is actually going to be able to build it and
Yeah.
build it at the price they have estimated. So
Hmm.
just be aware of that you have to have all these pieces in place. If you're doing construction, you have to get the right contractors and so forth. It's not, hey, I'm a handyman, I'm doing it myself.
Yeah.
If you're a contractor, you can do it yourself, but the
Hmm.
SBA is going to say you need to go get quotes from 2 other parties that are
Three.
outside to
Three
make
quotes.
sure that what you're saying is possible for that
Hmm.
construction. So just knowing
Makes.
how to navigate the systems, the banks, and then just they also look at global cash flow. Okay. So an SBA loan, they want to see that your outside income can
Uh-huh.
cover your debts. They just want to make sure that you have outside income that covers your living expenses, covers your outside debt. So if
Right.
you're writing off everything and you lose money every year, it's a little
Uh-huh.
bit more challenging than if you show a little bit of money and that income can qualify. We call that global cash flow.
Yes.
So
All
so
right.
that's the problem
Tremendous.
with big real estate people is that what will make it a little bit more challenging is because they sometimes show huge losses and you got to be
Yeah.
able to justify, oh, that's
Due to
just
cost segregations and depreciation, you're so right. Property might be making profit, but then in the taxation, when the CPA puts in depreciation, big negative amount, the positives go into negative at the bottom. That's what is that. I know when I got qualified for this home over here, my banker, Franco Lantrini, he really worked so hard, 4 months actually, to put it all back together, but he was able to get me that loan. So you're right, it's a lot more work, but it's okay. Hey, guess what, to be able to get interest rates or whatever it is, prime plus 1 or prime plus 1.5, of course the prime is higher now. When it goes lower in 2 3 years, it's going to make a lot more, appealing. But at the same time, assisted living, because we collect so much rent from the seniors, it just makes sense. It still brings positive cash flow at the bottom line, even at the high interest rates. So that's why I love this blue ocean. I call it blue ocean, not the red ocean where there's a lot of competition.
I have a franchise consulting business where we help people buy businesses. I was on a call with a franchisor and they do home care.
Uh-huh.
They're partnering with this new AI enabled technology. If I was starting a residential assisted living business and I was going to scale it, I would
Mm-hmm.
look at this software because it monitors the residents
Wow.
with AI inside the house. So
Oh,
it's an
wow.
added bonus where you're going to be talking to the daughter of the
Mm-hmm.
resident or the potential
Children,
resident.
children.
And so they want to know that their parent is being well taken care of. So I
Yes,
see this and I'll show it to you after we get off. But
sure.
this is something I would look into doing because it's going to give an added
know,
advantage to the
and they'll feel
marketplace.
secure. The family will feel secure that their parents or grandparents are well taken care of in the facility. I
And
see it.
they're monitored 24/7. Even though there's one or two people on staff, there's also additional monitoring. So
Yes.
you can use this as the owner of this residential assisted living
Mm-hmm.
to then say, look, we also have this technology. So we have best in class caregivers, but we also have this added
Yeah.
bonus. I was on a call the other day
Mm-hmm.
and the guy was talking. He's a guy I've been following for probably 13, 14 years now.
Wow.
He did a presentation for a GoBundance and it was all on AI. And I'll share the presentation with you, Vinny. It'll
Sure,
blow
sure.
your mind. Like I've been using AI, but the way he uses AI will blow
Mm.
your mind. So
Wow.
the other big game changer is really utilizing artificial intelligence to really supercharge your business. So now I'm even more gung ho on how I am going to supercharge my business
Mm-hmm.
utilizing AI because I'm only like not even scratching the surface.
So
Like it is
true.
very exciting. You have to adapt. If you're not adapting right now, because of artificial intelligence, there's going to be single person companies that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars
Yes.
because they're able to utilize technology like this. Like it's going to transform. You're going to have probably like a 25-year-old kid that uses AI, one person show, and creates
Mm-hmm.
a $200 million business, like 2 years. Stuff
Yeah.
like that's going to start happening more and more. And so, like, I really want to adapt and understand AI at a higher level and then utilize it because I was playing around with some tools yesterday. I'll show you offline, Vinny.
I will. I
It, it,
will.
it yeah, it's truly amazing. I have this new software or app, and you give it a script.
Uh-huh.
So I could do a script on SBA financing. So I use AI to create a script. I upload that script to this software, and it creates a video.
Oh my
It's
gosh. You
I
know
did
what?
it yesterday.
You
It'll
just
blow your
taken the
mind.
words out of my mouth. I interviewed Anshu Bansal, my partner from clouddefense.ai yesterday, 1 hour and 5 minutes. And he wrote a book on AI and cybersecurity, which is on Amazon. He just launched it. And he has 3 articles, I think, on AI and cybersecurity. He designed the same program also, algorithms, where I give him the scripts and then me talking those words. And he said, Vinny, you could send to thousands of emails at the same time. So maybe this, I'm very curious to really find out with this software that you're, but a lot of people are doing it. I know he was putting it together. He shared with me some videos, but I'm sure a lot of people are doing it. Yeah.
I was reading an article, and they think about 85 million jobs will be lost because of AI.
85 million jobs.
I think that's what I read. I want to see where they cite it. But here's the caveat, though. There'll be almost close to 100 million jobs created.
Look at that.
So there's a net gain of 12 or 14 million.
Mm-hmm.
So right now is a time to be adapting these things and being early to this technology. If you have not really got in and played around in ChatGPT or
Yes.
Claude AI,
Mhm.
you are really missing the boat. I would suggest everybody really understand these programs and then how can you implement these programs into your business. So what I was just telling Vinny, I can now do a couple videos a day that are faceless. Those
Yeah.
can go on YouTube. My VA can do those for me with
Mhm.
my, okay. I use Cast Magic. It can do show notes. It can write a blog about this episode we're doing right now. It
Yeah.
can send email. It can write the emails. So get these automations in place, and then you can be in more spots. I can be in like 30 different spots where before I could do one. So now that's how you leverage, and everybody knows that leverage is the key. Buying real estate, leverage is the key. Growing your business, leverage is the key because there's only one of you. So you have to learn how to leverage your intellectual property so you can expand faster and in a bigger way, right? That's what you want to do. Not everybody
This
needs
is so
to
true,
expand.
so true what you're saying. And all these softwares, I know Opus Clips Pro that you shared with me, we are having so much fun with it. This is a software. I let go 2 of my video editors, but the thing is, I have other one now. She's my manager, and she's able to do the Opus clips and add more and personalize and do the things and then post. So you're right, and you're using it. Opus Pro, you said Task Magic.
There's another app, okay, where I could do a presentation on SBA financing, a video on, right? And then I could put it through this app and it'll have me talking in Spanish, Espanol. And it looks like I'm actually talking. I can do any language, Chinese, whatever. Here's the thing. We know roughly about 30-ish% of people in the United States right now speak Spanish. Don't quote me on that. I'm just pulling that number somewhere around there, I believe. So that number is continuing to grow. So if I want to get the people that aren't English as their second language, or maybe they don't speak English, they live here, they're paying taxes, they're looking for loans, SBA loans. Now I can be a resource to them where I couldn't before. So I could start a Spanish channel. And it's really me just talking in English, and this app is then making me look like I'm talking in Espanol.
Excellent. Again, guys, I hope you really like this episode. Give us 5-star reviews and share this episode, because we come to you every Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern. Thank you, Beau. This was a great show. I hope you really got a lot out of it about SBA financing and great hacks that we talked about. Thanks for sharing that. And we'll see you next week.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Beau and I are together to really bring the best to get your business to the next level.
Do me a favor, subscribe and share. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to connecting with you in the future.